To repay a debt, I willingly became the CEO's contract husband for 10 years. The moment her first love returned, we were to divorce immediately. For 10 years of marriage, I doted on her, and for 10 years, she waited. Finally, her first love came back. A single sheet of paper, the divorce agreement, was tossed in front of me. Coughing up blood, I signed my name with a sense of release. Chloe, my debt to you is paid. It's time for me to go. On the night of our 10th wedding anniversary, Chloe didn't come home. It was the first time she had ever stayed out all night on our anniversary. In previous years, no matter how busy she was, she always came back, and I would have wine and candles ready for us to share a quiet drink, a small moment for her bustling mind to find peace at home. On this anniversary, she rushed out in the morning and never returned, without sending a single message. I just remember that when she left, her face was a mixture of nervousness and elation, making her look less like a 32-year-old CEO and more like a 22-year-old girl experiencing her first crush. I realized the man she loved was back. My heart clenched, then slowly eased. I managed a smile of resignation. I should have seen this day coming. I had already decided how I would face it. I would simply leave. I pulled the cancer diagnosis from the drawer and coughed softly, a sweet, metallic taste welling up in my throat. Terminal cancer, there was no cure. I used to wonder if Chloe would be heartbroken, if she would weep uncontrollably if I died. Now it seems I was overthinking it. 10 years of marriage couldn't sever her connection to her first love. She never truly saw me as her husband. 10 years ago, Chloe and I made a pact. If her first love ever came back, we would get a divorce. I agreed without a moment's hesitation because I had a debt to repay. I can still vividly recall the scene of the crash, the ground slick with blood and the acrid smell of gasoline hanging in the air. My parents and my sister lay motionless beside me, their bodies mangled. The only things left at the scene were the steady leak of gasoline and the despair of the night. And then Chloe appeared, still wearing her motorcycle helmet. She used every ounce of her strength to drag my family away from the wreckage. Through a haze of pain, I saw flames suddenly leap up. The car was about to explode, but Chloe didn't back down. She gritted her teeth and, with her hands covered in blood, she pulled each of us to safety one by one. The car never exploded, but the fire that engulfed it consumed the vehicle we bought with our life savings, and it incinerated my life along with it. My parents and sister didn't make it. I lay in a hospital bed, wrapped in so much gauze I felt like a mummy, staring blankly at the ceiling for days, tears constantly streaming down my face. Chloe came to see me again. In truth, she had been there all along. She was the one who paid my medical bills and found a nurse to look after me. Even though she couldn't see my face beneath the bandages, she would meet my eyes with an encouraging smile. Her smile was beautiful. During those countless nights of despair, in the dreams where I wanted to end my own life, I would always see Chloe's smile. She gave me a second chance at life. She saved my family from being incinerated. She was a beacon in the darkness of that night. Chasing that light, I survived one long night after another, enduring all the torment my injuries brought. Finally, I was discharged, the bandages on my face removed. I was covered in scars, but thankfully my face had only a few minor ones, nothing disfiguring. On the day I left the hospital, I expected Chloe to be there, but she never showed up. I ran into her again months later. She was at a bar, completely wasted, while I was on stage singing love songs with my passable voice to make a little money. Chloe's eyes locked onto me. She staggered over, tipsy, and tilted my chin up. "Hey, handsome, you've got a great voice. Come have a drink with me." I was stunned. I never imagined my great savior had this side to her. I quietly drank with her as she got progressively drunker, until she finally broke down crying that the man she loved had moved abroad. I asked why. She didn't answer, only murmured that the world was full of people who loved each other, who couldn't be together. "Your voice sounds a lot like his," she said. "I'll be back to see you." Chloe started using me as a stand-in for her first love. No, that's not right. A vocal substitute. She came every night to hear me sing, tipping generously and sometimes dragging me out for late-night food afterward, and I took care of her, making sure she could drink without a care and wake up comfortably in a hotel room the next morning. Over time, we grew close. She began to see me as someone she could lean on, collapsing into my arms on lonely nights, asking why I was so good to her. I would think to myself, how could I not be? You gave me my life back. Of course, I never said that out loud. I'd just joke, you pay well, so of course I'm good to you. She would laugh, then start complaining about her family pressuring her to get married, saying it was driving her crazy. I teased her, well, you could just marry me. I suppose I could do you that favor. The color drained from her face. She raised her hand as if to slap me, but stopped herself. After watching me in silence for a long moment, she finally nodded. All right. A good man like you is hard to find these days. We started trying to be a couple. The old injuries from the accident meant I couldn't do heavy labor or handle intense mental work, so I became a stay-at-home husband. I made sure Chloe never had to worry about a thing at home, freeing her to completely immerse herself in the career she loved. She was quite content with the arrangement. Of course, she didn't love me. She just thought I was a dependable, decent man, and so it felt like the natural next step for us to get married. I was happy that night because I realized I was falling for Chloe, for the woman who had given me a second life. But she wasn't. She had thought getting married was just a formality, a piece of paper. But when the moment actually arrived, she was filled with regret. A sacred union wasn't just about finding a convenient partner. The person she wanted by her side was him. That's when Chloe laid out the condition. If my first love ever comes back, she said, we divorce immediately. Okay, I agreed. My thoughts returned to the present. The night had grown darker. It was past midnight. I started coughing again, the taste of blood in my throat growing stronger. I needed to start treatment. That way I could hang on a little longer, enjoy what little time I had left. I began to wait for Chloe's divorce papers. Once we were divorced, I could finally leave. As dawn broke, I heard the click of high heels. I startled awake from a nightmare, turning my head toward the door, and a sharp pain shot through my neck while my organs churned. I realized I had fallen asleep in the chair. The wine and steak on the table before me were untouched. Chloe pushed the door open. She had long since become sharp and sophisticated, a general commanding the battlefield of business. Usually she'd come home still radiating a commanding energy, declaring, I'm starving. The moment she walked in, I would then make her dinner, draw her a bath, prepare a herbal foot soak, and massage her shoulders. But today she didn't say a word about being hungry. She just hummed to herself as she slipped off her heels. She didn't even notice I had been waiting up for her. You're back? I asked, trying to sound casual, but a trickle of blood escaped my dry lips as I spoke. I quickly pressed a napkin to my mouth, pretending to wipe something away. Chloe looked up at me, her smile vanishing. She stopped humming. Her expression was complicated, a mask of conflict. It was obvious she was about to bring up the divorce, but after 10 years of me taking care of her, doting on her like she was my own child, she seemed to be having trouble finding the words. After all, you develop feelings for a dog after 10 years, let alone a person, and I'm a person. I have feelings too, so I didn't bring it up either. Instead, with a strange knot in my stomach, I asked, where were you all night? Busy at work, Chloe said, her eyes darting away. The lie came so easily. I just said, oh, and got up to make breakfast. She only ever ate what I cooked. She said she couldn't get used to the housekeeper's food. Ethan, aren't you tired? Chloe asked suddenly. I stopped and looked at her. Tired of what? You've spent 10 years taking care of me. You're practically my butler, more dedicated than any housekeeper we've ever had. Aren't you tired of it? She asked, her lips pressed into a thin line. Not at all. I'm perfectly happy being your trophy husband, I said with a weak laugh. The laugh sent a spasm through my stomach, and a wave of acid reflux made me cough. A cold? Chloe took a couple of steps toward me, but then stopped, as if consciously keeping her distance. A pang of sadness hit me. In the past, she would have immediately come over to feel my forehead. Even for a grown man like me. It's nothing. You rest, I'll make breakfast. Breakfast was ready. Chloe was on her phone, but she quickly put it away when she saw me come out. It looked like she was in the middle of a chat. I told her to eat. She ate as she always did, then looked at me again with that same conflicted, complicated expression. I met her gaze and said nothing. Maybe I should be the one to bring it up, to save my savior the guilt. But what was I even hoping for? That she would choose me over her first love? It was ridiculous. Finally, Chloe broke the silence. So, do you remember our agreement? A strange tension left my body, and I slumped for a second before straightening my spine again. Oh, I said, trying to sound playful. He's back? Chloe just hummed in confirmation, looking away. I tried to smile, but my face felt stiff as a board. I raised my voice slightly. After 10 years, you still haven't forgotten him? What's that supposed to mean? Chloe's brow furrowed. I started, but my voice trailed off. I had no idea what to say. Her frown deepened. She seemed to see right through me, to see my foolish hope. It seemed to annoy her. She adopted her cold CEO persona. Ethan, I was never in love with you. Please honor our agreement. A cold morning draft swept in from the doorway, chilling me to the bone. I broke into a fit of violent coughing. Fine. The divorce papers were drawn up 3 days later. Chloe had stopped coming home. She had her assistant, Lily, bring me the papers and make sure I sign them without delay. Mr. Anderson, just sign here, Lily said, pointing to the blank line. Then in a month, you and Miss Davis will go to finalize the divorce. Her expression was also complex, a mixture of professionalism and sympathy. I was curled up on the sofa, and I gave a weak nod. I slowly sat up, my fingers trembling uncontrollably. I was so tired. It wasn't physical exhaustion, but the weariness of life itself draining away. I picked up the pen and scanned the document. Chloe was being generous. She was leaving me the house and giving me $50 million. Mr. Anderson, there's one more clause here. Please take a look, Lily said, pointing to a specific line. I read it and paused, the tip of the pen pressing into the paper. Post-divorce, the male party is forbidden from appearing before the female party for any reason whatsoever, under penalty of breach of contract. Another new condition. The pain in my body flared up suddenly. I gasped for breath, clutching at my chest as if I could tear the cancer's agony out of me. Mr. Anderson, are you all right? Lily asked, startled. I lowered my head, took a breath, and slowly signed my name. Each stroke of the pen was a farewell to the last 10 years. Each stroke erased another frame of Chloe's face, her voice, her smile from my memory. When I finally finished, I had regained my composure. I looked up and smiled. It's done. Lily took the agreement, hesitating before she spoke. Mr. Anderson, please don't be too devastated. I actually think Miss Davis does care for you. She's just trapped in the past, unable to move on. Her heart is still stuck 10 years ago. Lily wasn't just Chloe's assistant. She was a close friend who knew a lot about her life. I waved a dismissive hand. Don't say such things. You don't want Miss Davis to dock your pay. Go on now. I'll be there next month to finalize things with her. Lily sighed and left with the signed papers. The moment the door closed, all the strength left my body, and I melted into the sofa like a boneless heap. So tired. So much pain. Would I even live long enough to see the divorce finalized? After signing the papers, my ties to Chloe were effectively severed. A 10-year marriage gone in an instant. I had always known it would end this way, and with that, my debt was finally paid. I gave 10 years of my life to care for Chloe, shielding her from every hardship, and now I was setting her free. I had done all I could. My duty was done. Thinking this, I let out a self-deprecating laugh. I'm such a good person, I'll probably achieve enlightenment after I die. Hallelujah. Suddenly, the front door swung open. Someone had used the keypad. We used facial recognition. No one had used the code in years. I turned to the doorway and saw a tall, handsome man in casual clothes stepping inside. His eyes scanned the house, taking everything in, completely missing my frail form on the sofa. Not until I spoke up. Who are you? He jumped, then a smirk played on his lips. Ethan Anderson, Chloe's husband? You don't look like much. I was sick. I certainly didn't have much of a presence. Marcus, I narrowed my eyes. This must be Chloe's first love. That's me, Marcus said, gesturing to the keypad. Chloe and I picked this house out together. I was feeling nostalgic, so I thought I'd stop by. Can't believe she never changed the code. It's always been my birthday. She's a sentimental one. He looked proud, as if the 10-year-old code was a testament to his victory. I clenched my fists. The code was his birthday. I remember asking her about it once. She said it was just a random number she punched in, and she was too lazy to change it. 10 years of laziness, and I had believed her. I laughed at my own stupidity and shook my head. Well, since you're here, take a good look around. I'll be changing the code shortly. Oh, what's that supposed to mean? Marcus arched an eyebrow. He was acting like he owned the place. Of course he wouldn't like me changing the code. Chloe and I are divorced, I said, standing up and trying to hold myself tall. The house is mine. I used to be tall and handsome just as much as Marcus, but the cancer had stolen my strength, my presence. Is that right? A smirk played on Marcus's lips. Mr. Anderson, I'm not short on cash. This house holds a lot of good memories for me. I'll add to your settlement, you leave the house. No, I refused flatly. It wasn't that I was attached to the house. It was that I was dying. I had no other home. This house was the only place I had left. To die here would be a kind of homecoming. You need to understand something, Marcus said, his face hardening. Chloe loves me. I can have her throw you out whenever I want. He looked at me with contempt. But I was the one who'd had Chloe for the last 10 years, and for that he resented me. He was trying to provoke me. The divorce agreement, signed and sealed, states clearly that the house is mine, I repeated, staring at him coldly. Marcus scoffed. You're a stubborn one for a kept man. What did your parents teach you? How to live off a woman? My pupils constricted, and my lips trembled. Shut up, I snarled. Get out. Marcus flew into a rage. Who are you telling to get out? He stepped forward and gave me a shove. I lost my balance instantly and collapsed, the world spinning around me. My already weak body felt like it was made of dough, completely devoid of strength. At that exact moment, Chloe walked in. She must have heard the shouting because she rushed inside. The first thing she saw was Marcus glaring down at me as I lay weakly on the floor. Dude, are you playing the victim here? You're not that fragile, Marcus sneered, shaking his head as he explained the situation to Chloe. Chloe's brow furrowed in annoyance. Get up, Ethan, she said coldly. Stop being so dramatic. She defended Marcus without question, her voice stripped of all the warmth it once held for me. Another sharp pain lanced through my chest. I gasped, trying to pull myself up, but I couldn't find the strength. Cancer is a disgusting disease. One moment you can feel almost normal, the next you're hit with palpitations and weakness that leave you as helpless as a newborn chick. God, you're pathetic. Acting like a little girl, Marcus said with a click of his tongue, looking away in disgust when I couldn't get up. Chloe grew even more irritated. Ethan, what is wrong with you? This is embarrassing. I have cancer, I said, deciding to just stay seated and catch my breath. They both froze. Then Marcus burst out laughing. Dude, are you serious? You're really going to play that card? Chloe pressed her lips together, her expression one of extreme impatience. I pointed to the drawer in the media console. The diagnosis is in there. Before Chloe could react, Marcus had already found it. He glanced at it and roared with laughter. Terminal stomach cancer. Wow, I'm impressed. You'd even fake a diagnosis to try and keep her. He was accusing me of faking it. Chloe glanced at it too, then tossed it aside. Stop playing these games. I've given you everything you're entitled to. What more could you possibly want? I'm not unsatisfied, I said, looking at Marcus. It's just that this is my house now, and he is not welcome here. Marcus sneered. Chloe, this was our place. How could you give it to an outsider? Just give him more money and tell him to get out. Hearing this, Chloe frowned but remained silent. I looked at her, the woman I had stood by for 10 years. She looked back at me, her gaze wavering before turning to Marcus. I bought a bigger house, she said quietly. It's fine if he keeps this one. No, I'm sentimental. I want this one, Marcus insisted. Chloe sighed, her eyes fixed on a point in the distance, but her words were for me. Ethan, I'll give you $100 million. Just leave. In that instant, my gaze fell. I felt my entire body deflate, every last bit of strength draining out of me. I knew our 10-year marriage was over. My debt to Chloe was finally completely paid. I owed her nothing more. She was the one abandoning me. After a moment of silence, I let out a hollow laugh. Make it $200 million. A man's youth has to be worth something, right? Fine. I took the $200 million and left the home I had lived in for a decade. I took one last look back, and a feeling of release, of liberation, washed over the sorrow. There was nothing left for me there. For 10 years my focus had been on repaying my debt, but somewhere along the way, I had unknowingly fallen in love with Chloe. I could sense she cared for me too, but compared to her first love, I was nothing more than a loyal pet. So be it. I would consider the debt paid and walk away free. Besides, I didn't have much time left. Why wallow in misery? It was time to live a little. That night, I went to the biggest club in the city, bought drinks for a dozen beautiful women, and just had them sit with me. My body was weak, but my spirit could still be wild. Don't they say a man is a boy at heart until the day he dies? So this boy went bungee jumping, skydiving, off-roading, anything for a thrill. I have to admit, it was a hell of a rush, even if I was coughing up blood the whole time. Then my body gave out. After about 10 days of this, I hit my limit and had to stop. I rested for 2 days, gathered what little strength I could, and went out again. This time, I went to Greenwood Cemetery to visit the graves of my parents and my sister. I came every year at this time. For the past 9 years, Chloe had always come with me. She never knew that the people buried there were the ones she had pulled from that fiery crash. She just thought I was a pitiful, lonely man who had lost his entire family. Yes, all alone with nothing left to hold on to. I sat before their headstones until dusk. When I tried to stand, the world went black, and I collapsed. When I woke up, I was in a vast, empty hospital room, the only sound being the steady beeping of machines. Outside the door, a few doctors were speaking in low voices about my condition. Then I heard a familiar voice. What? Terminal stomach cancer? That's impossible. He just fainted. It wasn't Chloe, it was her assistant Lily. It must have been Lily who brought me here. Mr. Anderson's records were already on file, a doctor said gravely. He does have terminal stomach cancer. We've repeatedly advised him to be admitted for treatment, but he refused. Lily, in disbelief, immediately tried to make a call, but no one picked up. Damn it, Miss Davis left for her honeymoon with Marcus yesterday. No one can reach her, Lily said, frantic with worry. I curled into a ball and started to cough. The old saying about illness coming on like a landslide is true. One day you feel fine, the next you're at death's door. I could feel it clearly now. I didn't have much time left. The doctors entered the room, and when Lily tried to follow, they held her back. Mr. Anderson, you have to start treatment. We've developed a plan. Please cooperate, one of the doctors said, pushing a consent form toward me. In this world, there were still people who didn't want me to die, even if it was just out of professional obligation. With treatment, how long do I have? I asked. It's hard to say, but without it, you likely won't last a month, the doctor replied, his expression grim. Less than a month. I guess I'd better get the treatment then. After all, I still hadn't finalized the divorce with Chloe, thanks to the damned mandatory waiting period. I accepted the treatment. It was a kind of pain and torment that no one could possibly understand. The clumps of hair on my pillow and the blood I coughed up each day were the stuff of horror films. Once I was a little more stable, Lily was finally allowed to visit. She was a nervous wreck. Mr. Anderson, why didn't you tell her? I knew something was wrong. You looked so unwell. It's for the best. Chloe has someone to lean on now, and I'm free, I said, staring at the bare trees outside the window. In the harsh northern winter, not a single green leaf remained. Mr. Anderson, don't say that. Miss Davis would be worried about you. Oh, right. She went on a business trip. She forgot her phone, so she's unreachable. Lily's lie was full of holes. I couldn't help but laugh. I get it. She's on her honeymoon with Marcus. When she's on vacation, she's completely focused. You won't be able to reach her. I knew this from experience. Whenever Chloe and I traveled, once she was in vacation mode, that's all she would do, completely ignoring calls from the office. No one was allowed to disturb her. I'd sometimes suggest she check in with the office, but she'd always have a ready excuse, saying things like, "What's the point of a vacation if you're just going to worry about work? We might as well have stayed home. Besides," she would add, "I'm here with you right now. You're my only concern." Chloe used to be concerned about me. Now she probably only had eyes for Marcus. I don't know what to say, Lily continued, but Miss Davis really does care about you. She's the one who told me to check for you at the cemetery. She knew you'd be visiting your family, but she said she was too busy to go with you this year. So Chloe did remember the day I visit their graves. It's just that this year she had to be with Marcus. Lily, you don't have to comfort me. I know she's with Marcus. I'm not angry, and I truly wasn't. Not in the slightest. That's how it is when you finally see things clearly. When you let go, nothing matters anymore. It's a fundamental shift. There's no going back, no looking back. Besides, I was dying. What does a dying man care about love and romance? I'm glad you're not angry, Lily said. To be honest, I don't think Miss Davis and Marcus are a good match. She's a powerful business person, and so is he. I think they'll just clash. Lily leaned in conspiratorially. I heard that's why they broke up 10 years ago, because their personalities were too similar. Stop, I said, raising a hand. Don't wish them ill. They're a perfect match. It's not our place to say otherwise. Lily argued back. I'm not wishing them ill. I just think you're better for her. Miss Davis needs someone to dote on her, to love her. Deep down, she's like a child. Yes, she was like a child. I remembered how she'd stomp up and down the stairs in a panic when she couldn't find a specific pair of heels, cursing that the house was too big and shouting my name. Ethan, Ethan, where are my shoes? Have you seen my shoes? Check under the media console, I'd call out, having just finished signing some documents for her and tucking them into her briefcase. She'd run to the console, and sure enough, there they were. Then she'd look up the stairs at me, hands on her hips. Did you hide them? Are you messing with me? You were drunk last night, I'd say, coming down the stairs to hand her the briefcase. You kicked them off, and that's where they landed. She'd think for a second, then stick her tongue out sheepishly. Oh, right, I forgot, she'd say, then open the briefcase to review the papers I'd signed, her expression growing more satisfied with each page. Ethan, you're really something, she'd say more than once. This is flawless work. And your handwriting is perfect. It's a waste having you as a stay-at-home husband. You should be my VP. I knew I was capable. I was an Ivy League graduate with a knack for finance. But I knew Chloe didn't need a VP. She needed a rock, someone who could find her shoes, tie up the loose ends on her paperwork, and have a hot meal waiting for her. You're like a child, I'd tell her, ruffling her hair. I think I'd better stay home and look after you. That's what I'd said, and I'd even patted her on the head. She wouldn't resist, just roll her eyes at me before heading out the door with a happy little smile. Now, she would never roll her eyes at me again, and she certainly wouldn't let me touch her hair, because now she was Marcus's child, and I was free. No more babysitting. My condition worsened during the second week in the hospital. The doctors issued 3 critical condition notices, which frightened Lily so much she cried, but somehow I pulled through each time. Mr. Anderson, hang in there. I'll try to reach Miss Davis again, Lily said, pacing anxiously as she tried every possible way to get in touch with Chloe. I lay motionless, feeling like I was hallucinating, seeing strange shapes everywhere. Even the ceiling seemed to be moving. Finally, Lily had an idea. I'll get the general manager to contact Marcus. He has Marcus's business card. If we can reach Marcus, we can reach Miss Davis. Lily was a genius. She immediately called the manager, a flurry of urgent words pouring out. I was so dizzy I couldn't make out what she was saying. A moment later, her voice rose with excitement. Is this Mr. Sterling? This is Miss Davis's assistant. Could you please put her on the phone? Marcus must have complied. Lily's voice grew even more urgent. Miss Davis, I finally reached you. You have to come back. Ethan is dying. There was no response from Chloe, who was probably in shock. Lily pressed the phone to my ear. Mr. Anderson, say something. I was still delirious, the tubes in my body making everything a dull, constant ache. I managed to rasp out, come back soon to finalize the divorce. I can't die in peace otherwise. Ethan, what the hell are you doing? Chloe's voice was ice cold. You know I'm with Marcus. Why are you calling? I clicked my tongue in frustration, a flicker of anger cutting through the pain, but before I could respond, she added, don't call again. You have to honor our agreement. She hung up. Lily, practically steaming with frustration, tried calling back, but there was no answer. She groaned in frustration, running her hands through her hair. I closed my eyes. For the first time, I found Chloe, this child, to be utterly infuriating. I lost count of how many times I cheated death. Today was a rare, beautiful sunny day, and my energy felt surprisingly improved. Lily came to visit again. She brightened when she saw I had some color in my cheeks, but her expression quickly fell. When a dying person suddenly looks better, it's usually just a final burst of energy before the end. A final burst that meant I was really going to die. Is the waiting period over? I asked, my voice a hoarse, ragged whisper. Lily checked the date. 3 more days. In 3 days, I could officially divorce Chloe. No more ties. Good. I can hold on for 3 more days. Death can't have me yet, I said with a laugh, trying to rally my spirits. The normally cheerful Lily said nothing, her eyes welling up with tears. I found it amusing. I looked out at the bright sun and felt my energy surge even more. There was one thing I had to do. Lily, could you bring me a pen and paper? Of course, she said, immediately going to find them. With a pen and paper, I could write. It wasn't anything profound, just a last will and testament. After all, I had $200 million to account for. I slowly wrote down my final wishes in a notebook, adding them as they came to me. After I die, bury me next to my parents and sister at Greenwood Cemetery, Plot 6B. Donate $5 million to the Children's Defense Fund. Donate $10 million to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. My list of bequests was long. Lily peeked over my shoulder curiously. Mr. Anderson, are you writing something for Miss Davis? Hell no. I spent 2 days writing, and the effects of my final surge of energy began to fade. I was back to lying listlessly in bed, where every movement was agony. The pain, a searing line from my scalp to my toes, felt like it was tearing my organs apart. I wanted to throw myself out the window just to make it stop. Death would be a relief, but I had to wait. Wait to finalize the divorce. 1 day, 2 days, 3 days passed. The time had come. Lily wasn't there. She hadn't stayed the night. She'd gone home early. The room was quiet. I could hear the sound of fluid dripping through my foretube. Maybe the pain had become so intense that I'd gone completely numb to it. I didn't feel any pain today. This was remarkable. I had felt pain even during my last surge of energy, but now there was nothing. I managed to sit up and even clench my fist. There was a little strength there, and more importantly, no pain. I seized the moment to continue writing my will. Donate funds to pave a new road and install 50 streetlights in my hometown of Millinocket, Maine. Donate $3 million in cash and supplies to the East Side Orphanage. After my death, if any of my organs are viable, donate them all. Just leave enough of me to be cremated and buried beside my family. As I wrote the final word, all my strength vanished, and I collapsed like a dead tree in the wind. At that exact moment, the door was thrown open. It was Chloe. She was finally back. I summoned a mysterious burst of strength and pulled the blanket completely over my head. I didn't want to see her. Seeing her now would mean I couldn't even die in peace. Ethan, what are you doing? Chloe said, walking slowly into the room, her voice cold. Lily told me you have cancer. Have you gotten addicted to the drama? Are you really using such a cheap ploy? I didn't answer, lying in the darkness under the blanket. I just thought, please go away. Just let me die in peace. Say something. Stop pretending. Chloe snapped. We made this agreement 10 years ago. You agreed to it. I have done nothing to wrong you. Right. You've done nothing wrong. So please, just leave. Ethan, are you mute? Chloe strode to the bed and tore the blanket off me. Are you faking this so you don't have to finalize the divorce? What is it you want? Her words died in her throat because she saw me. She saw my bald, ravaged head, my sunken cheeks, my skeletal frame. I curled into a ball. The pain was excruciating, worse than the car crash. Ethan, Chloe whispered, her body frozen as if struck by lightning. Then in disbelief, she lunged toward me, her body shaking uncontrollably as she screamed my name. Ethan. I couldn't answer. Ethan. She sobbed, breaking down completely. You're really sick. Why did you hide it from me? You bastard, why didn't you tell me? Hide it from you? I showed you the diagnosis. You were the one who didn't believe it. And please, stop touching me. The pain is killing me. Say something. You're going to be okay. Chloe was still crying, her sobs raw and desperate. The pain was so intense I passed out. This time I was unconscious for a long time. I woke in the middle of the night, blinking for a long time before my vision cleared even a little. It was still a hospital room, but a much nicer one. Chloe must have arranged it. She was doing everything she could to save me. I cheated death again. Amazing. The light in the room was dim, and I couldn't see clearly. I heard the door open. Someone walked in. I thought it was the nurse, but it was Chloe. She sat by my bed, watching me without blinking. I kept my eyes closed, but a telltale flutter of my eyelashes showed I was still alive. Are you awake? Can you open your eyes? Chloe asked, her voice filled with hope as she gently took my hand. I was awake, but it felt like a dream. I remained still, unwilling to open my eyes. Chloe grew anxious, pressing her cheek against my hand. Ethan, you're so foolish. We're not getting the divorce. Please just wake up, okay? Not getting divorced? Why not? On what grounds? I screamed the questions in my head, but I didn't have the strength to speak, so I remained silent. Her tears fell onto the back of my hand. I haven't slept at all these past few days, she whispered. I just keep thinking about you, wondering if you're in pain, if your heart is broken. I was so stupid. I ignored you to chase some youthful fantasy. In reality, it was just a meaningless dream. Her tears flowed freely now. A regret from when I was 22 has haunted my entire life, and I thought I had to resolve it. But once I did, I realized the real dream, the one that mattered, was the one who was by my side all along. I couldn't respond. I was too tired. I didn't want to hear any more of her rambling about dreams. It was so annoying. The door opened again. I didn't know who it was. I heard a man's low voice. Chloe, you've been here for days without sleeping. Your body can't take this. I'll hire 3 nurses to watch him in shifts. Come with me. No. Chloe's voice was firm, stubborn. The man was silent for a moment, then asked bitterly, I have to ask, do you still love me? Why have you ignored me since we got back from the honeymoon? Chloe was silent. The man sighed. I've sensed it, you know. We're not the same people we were 10 years ago. From the moment we met again, your heart hasn't been with me. You were forcing it, trying to recapture something that was lost. You were lying to yourself, trying to convince yourself you still loved me. The man took a few steps closer, as if to get a better look at me. But you don't love me anymore. Maybe it's because of him. Did I really lose to this weakling? Shut up. Chloe hissed, not letting Marcus insult me. Marcus fell silent. Chloe squeezed my hand tighter and said to Marcus in a raw voice, You should go. I don't love you anymore. I was so trapped by a regret from when I was 22 that I couldn't see the man who was right in front of me for 10 years. He's dying, and it's only now that I realized my biggest regret in life wasn't losing you, it's losing him. The man stood silently for a long moment before turning and leaving, his shoulders slumped in defeat. Chloe leaned down and kissed my forehead. Ethan, it's you I love. Well, what can I say? I'd rather just be dead. The pain was just too much. My head lowered to the side, and I passed out again. I regained consciousness at dawn. I have to say, I'm one tough son of a bitch. Lily was sitting beside me and breathed a sigh of relief when she saw my eyes open. Mr. Anderson, you're awake. That's good. Do you want something to eat? For the first time in a long while, I actually had an appetite. Maybe my mood had lifted. I nodded. Lily picked up a bowl of broth she had ready and began to feed it to me. As a dying man, I didn't care what it was. If there was food, I'd eat it. I swallowed with difficulty. After a few spoonfuls, Lily smiled. Miss Davis made this. She has no idea how to cook. It took her hours and she burned her hands all over. It's quite pitiful, really. I gagged. I threw it all up. So Chloe had made it? No wonder it tasted burnt and gummy. I had thought Lily made it, and I'd forced it down so I wouldn't hurt her feelings. Ethan, why did you throw up? The door opened and Chloe, who must have been hiding just outside, rushed in. Her eyes were red and swollen from lack of sleep. It tasted awful, so I threw up, I said, turning over to face the wall. I already felt sick, and forcing down that disgusting broth only made it worse. I had to lie on my side to feel any relief. Ethan, do you hate me that much? Chloe asked, walking over as Lily stepped aside. I have indigestion. I have to lie like this, I said, my back to her, feeling sicker by the second. Chloe sniffled and reached for my hand. I pulled it away quickly. Don't touch me. My skin feels like it's on fire. Every touch is agony. It was the truth, but it only seemed to wound Chloe more deeply. I know I wronged you, she said, her voice choked with tears. I was living in the past, trapped by my regrets. The truth is, I fell in love with you a long time ago. I was just too stupid to see it. Tears streamed down her face. Listening to her made my head throb. Can you please stop? I begged. I'm already dying. Listening to you go on and on is making it worse than death. Please, just spare me. Chloe covered her mouth, silent tears streaming down her cheeks. Chloe's bowl of broth nearly killed me. It took me several days to feel even remotely human again. The weather was nice. I squeezed my fingers, and the veins stood out starkly on the back of my skeletal hand. I could feel a flicker of strength I hadn't felt in a long time. Maybe today was the real final surge. I couldn't waste it. Lily, Lily, I called out. It wasn't Lily who appeared, but Chloe. She was holding my notebook, the one with my will. Her face a mask of pain. Ethan, you're awake. How are you feeling today? I frowned, my eyes fixed on the notebook. What are you doing with that? I was helping you refine it. I made some changes, for example, the part about donating your organs. I don't think that's necessary. I want you to be whole, she said, her eyes turning red again. My will was making her upset. I was furious. Are you crazy? What business is it of yours if I donate my organs? I wasn't much use when I was alive. Can't I at least do something useful after I'm dead? No, that's not it, she said, waving her hands frantically, looking like a panicked child caught doing something wrong. I just want you to be whole. In 10 years, I had never seen her look like that. Now that I was dying, She was suddenly full of expressions. But it just irritated me. Give it to me, I demanded, holding out a withered hand. Chloe handed me the notebook. I grabbed a pen and started crossing out her changes. We were nothing to each other anymore. What right did she have to alter my last wishes? Chloe watched in silence, tears soaking the collar of her shirt, her face a canvas of regret and grief. Thankfully, Lily came in then. Otherwise, I don't know how long Chloe would have kept crying. Miss Davis, what's wrong? Lily asked, surprised. I rubbed my wrist and said with anticipation, Lily, I finally have some energy today. This must be it, the real final surge. Get the car ready. Take me and Chloe to City Hall to finalize the divorce. It's the last thing I have left to do. If I don't get this done, I won't be able to die in peace. It's a thorn in my side. Lily gasped and looked quickly at Chloe. Chloe burst into tears. Honey, please don't do this. Can we not get divorced? Please, let's not finalize it. I'm begging you. She collapsed onto the floor, a helpless, sobbing mess, all traces of the powerful CO gone. But I shook my head. We have to. A thorn in my heart. Once it's done, I can die happy. I sat huddled in a wheelchair, wrapped in a thick overcoat and wearing 3 winter hats. Lily was at the counter at City Hall, handling the paperwork for me. The process was simple enough. It was just a divorce, after all. Chloe stood beside me, her eyes red and swollen from crying. When it was my turn to sign, she begged me one last time. Honey, please don't. Can we not do this? I've loved you for 10 years. I've always loved you, I swear. Without you, I don't even have the courage to go on living. She started crying again, drawing stares from people who couldn't understand why such a beautiful woman was sobbing in the city clerk's office. Mr. Anderson, Marcus went back to his own life. Miss Davis doesn't love him. She loves you. Lily whispered, her hand stopping mine before I could sign. My head was splitting. Can you all just stop talking? The pain is going to kill me. My life is about to end, and you're all still going on about love. Is love the only thing that matters in this world? Is it so much to ask to just remove this thorn from my heart so I can die in peace? Chloe, I said, turning to face her. I'll give you my answer. I loved you for 10 years too, but now I really don't love you anymore. Please, let me go. I looked at her with empty, numb eyes. I was like a dead tree in the dead of winter, just praying for the end, because I could no longer bear the bone-chilling cold. A tremor ran through Chloe's body, shaken by the emptiness in my eyes. She looked like she was about to collapse, her lips trembling as she whispered, You really don't love me anymore? I nodded firmly. She staggered backward, nearly falling. Lily rushed to steady her. I seized the chance and signed my name. I, Ethan Anderson, was officially divorced from Chloe Davis. The unsteady Chloe threw herself toward me, crying out, Honey. I strained to look up at her and called her name. Chloe? Honey, what is it? Tell me, she said, holding me tight, her body trembling. Remember, I began. Remember what? I remember everything. I'll never forget you. She cried, holding me even tighter. Remember to sign, get the certificate, I whispered, my strength gone. Chloe completely broke down, letting out a heart-wrenching wail. I closed my eyes. The pen slipped from my fingers. My whole body relaxed. In that moment, the thorn was finally gone from my heart. I could finally die in peace. My head lolled to the side. My hand fell limp. I couldn't see or hear anything anymore, but there was a smile on my face. Mom, Dad, Sis, I'm coming to see you. Chloe's epilogue. After Ethan died, I had him buried next to his parents and sister. On the day of the funeral, I didn't shed a single tear. I think I had already cried them all out. Sometimes I hate fate for doing this to me. Why give me a regret at 22, only to let me try and fix it at 32, creating an even greater one in the process? But in the end, I can't blame fate. I can only blame myself. During those 10 years, I had so many chances to tell Ethan that I loved him. How could I not have loved him? When we first met, I got completely wasted and woke up in a strange hotel room, terrified that something had happened to me, only to see Ethan asleep in a chair by the bed, snoring softly. He was such a gentleman. A lot of women don't go for the decent guys, but I did, so I married him. This brilliant man, who understood the world of business better than anyone, was content to be a stay-at-home husband all because I liked his cooking. With every meal this brilliant man made for me, I wanted to tell him how delicious it was, how much I loved it. I loved every thoughtful thing he did, But I never said it because I was stubbornly convinced I was in love with someone else. I basked in Ethan's kindness and warmth, yet I took that kindness and warmth for granted. I foolishly chased a dream from my youth. I was determined to fix that one regret, but on my honeymoon with Marcus, all I felt was awkwardness and a sense of disconnect. I wasn't that young girl with a crush anymore, and he wasn't the idealized first love I had held in my memory. The honeymoon was a struggle. Every day was an ordeal. But I stubbornly told myself that with time, we could get back what we'd lost. Until I walked into that hospital room and saw Ethan, wasted away to nothing but skin and bones. In that single instant, my world shattered. Youthful regrets, romantic fantasies, they all vanished into thin air. The only thing I could see was the dying man in front of me. I finally knew I loved him. I had long since been unable to live without him. Just a few days later, he was gone, buried in the cold, silent ground. I looked at his headstone and slowly sat down, pressing my cheek against the cold stone of his name, motionless. Suddenly, it began to snow. The dead of winter had arrived. A bone-chilling wind crept up my sleeves, making my body tremble, but my heart was already numb. Ethan, is this how you waited for me? Numb with cold. You must have been so cold. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The snow fell for a day and a night, blanketing the cemetery in a thick, white shroud. In front of Ethan's grave, a new mound of snow began to form, shaped like a person slumped over the headstone to sleep there forever.